All right, so you guys have spent quite a bit of time here trying to, automate your sales and marketing processes. You're hearing a lot about CRM through and through. So what we thought was, okay, a lot of you guys have probably gotten to understand how to automate the process. The next thing is analyze what goes in there, because you're putting in quite a bit of information, a lot of lead information, contact information, sales information, campaign details, activities, everything that you're doing as a part of your CRM. The information is in there. What about the analysis? Because that's the holy grail, right? Today, everywhere you go, everybody wants to talk about analytics or big data analytics, insights, and call it what you want, business intelligence. So I'm going to go through the default report, the kind of reports, and what's the limit? At what point do you say, oh, okay, this is great, but I need something more, right? What is that point, and what do you do at that point? When you get to a point when you look at the reports and like, okay, this is limiting, what next, right? That's what we're going to talk about, and that's where we get into deeper insights, ways to interact with your data, because now it's all about not just looking at results and data and reports. It's about interacting with them, asking them the right questions, and trying to segment information so that you can harness maximum insights out of it. So a typical Zoho CRM reports that you would see, I'll basically log into the system. The typical ones, the canned ones, are the pipeline reports, the quota reports, the activity reports of the various tasks and calls and events that have happened and that are being tracked. And finally, some reasonable number of forecasting reports. Okay, what does the forecast look like, and who's going to close this deal next month or next quarter for me? So let's log into a CRM instance, a simple dashboard, a sample on stages as to how many of the stages that you have are in proposal stage versus negotiation or review stage, qualification stage, and what does your pipeline look like, right? Now, over and above the dashboards, there is a section in Zoho CRM. You go into the report section. So what you see here is the list of all the reports, quite a bit of reports, as you can see, for different kinds of each and every module, for activities, for campaigns, for quotes, for vendors, for product reports, and whatnot. Let's look at a few of them. Let's look at, let's say, the first one that we saw there, which was activity report. Call status reports. So these are the call owners or the agents who are working on these calls. The number of calls that they've dialed, that have been canceled, that are overdue, that have been received, kind of gives you a snapshot of what's happened in your system. Now, I want to basically go and look at this report and say, hey, by the way, I want to look at the data for the last 3 months across this particular activity, the calls. You're not able to interact with the data in Zoho CRM. The reason is pretty simple, because CRM is supposed to be a CRM system. This is not an analytics system. It's not a system that's going to give you the ability to do analytics and insights. So this is where the reporting in each of the applications within Zoho will have limits. It'll have access to the data, but you're not going to be able to do interactive data analysis with the systems. So you need Zoho reports to do that. So that's what we're going to talk about here. A couple of other reports. Let's say the forecast report that I was talking about. What does my quarterly forecast look like? Yeah, so here are the forecast owners, the quotas and everything. The data is not entered, but in general, these are the forecast owners and the forecast names are given. Let's drill down into one of them. And pipeline shortage is 100% because nothing has been achieved. So the targets is $10,000, but nothing has been achieved in this quarter. So it kind of gives you a view of what's happening with your forecast, right? And how the performance of the agent as well is assessed here. So quotes report. Quotes by stage, closed, won, and draft stages, and what's the subject of the stage and stuff like that. Pretty simple stuff. Not much you can do. Again, the only thing you can do here is the ability to create a chart. Let's say you want to see a horizontal bar chart for this. That's pretty much it. This is how far you can go with the kind of analysis that you can do here, right? Pretty limiting. I mean, it's good in its own way, but then, like I said, this is not the holy grail. You want to interact with the data. I want to kind of segment my data by time, by users, by the deal size, by the kind of industry that I'm serving in my business, and so on and so forth. So now we're talking about deeper insights. So what do I mean by deeper insights? I want metrics that give me a view of my business in the next quarter or the next 2 quarters, because you probably have been working and putting a lot of data into your CRM system, and when you do that, when you try to basically have potentials, you basically specify what's the probability of you closing the deal, and by what time do you expect to close that deal. You are kind of qualifying all the potentials and then specifying what's the probability of closing the deals. So the next question is, can I see a report which tells me what's the 50% chance of revenue that I have for this quarter? What is it going to be if I'm going to be able to clock all the 100% potentials? If I close those deals, what's the revenue I'm going to make? What if it's, and I want to see a running total. What if I do the 0 to 20, 20 to 50, 50 to 70, and 70 to 100%? All the deals I close, what's the number I'm going to make this quarter? Typically, this is what a VP of sales wants, because that's what he's measured on, right? And then, as a manager, let's say you're a sales manager, you want to see how many calls are being closed by different agents and how successful are they across different industries. So that's kind of forward-looking metric, revenue forecast for next quarter, and so on and so forth. Now, the most important thing that you would do typically at this stage in any business is actionable insights, because I want to be able to take actions based on the insights that I get, right? What's the average deal cycle for lost versus won deals? Meaning, how much time is the company spending to close deals that the company loses versus the deals that you win? And if you can basically take an action, if you see that the time that is being spent on deals that are lost and closed, you spend like more time on those than the deals that you win, obviously there is an optimization that can be made. You have to figure out what's the best way to reduce that and put more people in trying to close deals so that you win them. No point in closing and waiting on deals you never win, but it's just open for too long. And then business KPIs. As a company, Zoho believes in a KPI that it believes it's important for itself, which is revenue per employee. Now, as a business, someone like Facebook would say, the KPI that I want is the number of users that I sign up per month. That's my KPI. That tells me how good I am in my business. Somebody like, let's say Salesforce would probably say, I would want to kind of monitor a KPI such as revenue per user that I sign up per month or per year. So you know your business. You want to define KPIs that make sense to your business. It's just not the question of revenues and profitability and all those things. There are other KPIs that you know when you operate a business make sense to you. So what you need is a system that allows you to do all these 3 things and probably more. So what is this system, and what should such a system do? Such a system any system that says it has to be able to do analytics should have the ability to consume data from any data source. It can be Excel sheets, it can be a database that you may have, MS Access or a MySQL database, an Oracle database, or any other database system that you may be running in your organization. It could be probably a database that's hosted on the cloud and you want to get data from it. And it could be a CRM system, it could be Salesforce, it could be Zoho CRM. Or it could be MailChimp, it could be Google AdWords or whatever. So for me, if somebody were to ask me, what is the system that you need, LSP, to drive such an analytics project, I would say this is the system that I would need, and it should be able to automatically analyze the data that I give it, right? I have different kinds of data. I have dates, I have currencies, I have text, I have geographical information. I don't want to go into the system and specify each and every type of column and data type that I have. I don't want to do that. I want the system to automatically understand those things. I want the system to give me the ability to specify formulas, because the moment I start inhaling data from different data sources, the next thing I want to do is I want to combine them. I want formulas, mathematical, statistical, and so on and so forth. I need that capability. And then, most important, I don't want to be a developer. I don't want to be a data scientist. I don't want to be a front-end developer to create all these charts and reports. I don't want to write the business logic to get the data from the system and generate the graphs. I just want to be able to drag and drop the fields that I need. I want the charts to be created. And finally, the way I want to interact with the data is going to be completely different from another business user. I want the ability to have different visualization for the exact same set of data. If I see something as a pie chart, my colleague wants to see it as a bar chart, we should be able to do that with a click of a button. There's no point trying to create 100 different types of charts for the same data set. So that's the kind of application or intelligence that I need in my BI suite. And that BI suite is Zoho Reports. All that I'm talking about is possible in Zoho Reports. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to launch into the demo. I'm going to show you Zoho Reports, and I'm going to create one of the reports that, such as the forward-looking metric here. I'm going to show you how simple it is to create these reports. And then I have these actionable insights reports already pre-created. I want to show you how we can interact with the data. As a business user, this is what you want to do. You just want to see reports. You want to interact with it. So this is the homepage for Zoho Reports. In my case, you see quite a lot of databases because I've integrated the system with quite a few databases. If you're logging in, you're not going to see anything except for the import data section. And what you have here is the various different ways you can inhale data into the system. You can copy data, or you can inhale data like a file source on your system. You might have some CSV files or some Excel files on your laptop. You can load the data, and you can create reports. You can connect to a Google or cloud storage, such as Zoho Docs or Google Drive, Dropbox, and any data files that you have there can be loaded into the system. And we have default connectors for Salesforce, for Zoho CRM, Google Analytics, Zoho Campaigns, Zoho Projects, and so on and so forth, all that you see here. And these connectors do not mean that, you know what, oh, you could just set up a connection. It does a lot of things. All that you need to do, you just need to specify the username and password to access this service. And just about every service that you see here for which Zoho has connectors, we have no less than 50 reports in each of them. Out of the box, you don't have to write or do anything. The system creates those reports for you automatically. So that said, why don't we just go in and see the Zoho CRM Analytics? So I have, for the purposes of this presentation, I have inhaled data from an instance that I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Zoho CRM Analytics. And what you see here on the left-hand side of this navigation page is the list of all the modules from Zoho CRM. As you can see, the names are very indicative. You have accounts, calls, campaign, lead status campaigns, cases, contacts. These are essentially the modules in Zoho CRM. The connector basically goes in and inhales the data and brings it out to Zoho Reports. At this point, it also has generated a few reports. Let's look at some of the default reports that it has done and a dashboard. An interesting one that I tend to talk about in these kind of demos is the activities dashboard. It's an interesting one. And I want to show you how you interact with the system, how a business user or a business owner can interact with the data, and how simple it is and how dynamic the system is. So here is a dashboard. And right now, I'm seeing all the activities that have been logged in the system in the Zoho CRM, the calls, the events, and the tasks. And I have included all the time periods for which I have the data. The current month, the past month, the last quarter, so on and so forth. Let's say I'm a user. I want to basically, I'm the financial controller. I want to see what happened last quarter in my business. So I come in here and say, just show me the data for the last quarter. So automatically, you're interacting with the data, and then Zoho Reports pulls up the relevant information only for that time period. Now, within that, I want to do yet another kind of filtering. I'm like, I see quite a lot of tasks in Q2 of 2017. So, or let's say I'm not too interested in the events. I can just select or unselect events based on the legends, and then automatically you only see the calls and the tasks in the report. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to basically be able to drill down and say, from Q2 2017, I want to see which month had most activity for these calls. It's good to know that Q2 had a surge in tasks, but then what happened? I want to understand which month had that. Then I say basically drill down, and automatically knows and contextually brings the data based on which this report has been generated. and then I say I want to go by due date, and I want to see it on the basis of year and month. Again, I can see it specifically for each day in that quarter, for every day. All the 90 days in that quarter will be plotted. I don't want that. I just want to see it on the basis of the month and year. So May and June, this is the current quarter, so obviously. So within May, I want to drill down to specific weeks. Interesting. Week number 19 has quite an interesting report out there, more than 100 tasks. So what I want to do now is, okay, who are the owners of these tasks? That's what I want to know. Okay, who's been working on these tasks, been completed, I see it, but who worked on them? Just select the activity owner. At this point, you're looking at, remember where you came from, right from the quarter to the year, or to the month, to the week, to the owners or the activity owners who have been working on these activities all along. And now, a report like this, the previous ones, yeah, the bar graph was cool, it was good, it was indicative, but here, I want to see it in terms of percentages. I don't want to see it as, okay, 100 calls, 200 calls. I want to see who's done the maximum amount of work in this time period. So all that I can do here is just go to the icon here and say, just change it into a pie chart. And voila, what you see there is 42% of these tasks that have been completed in that particular week has been done by Roger Terrence. No, 47% would be Rosario Dago. So something like that. So here, what you're looking at is you're basically interacting with the data in various different ways. And you're segmenting data every step of the way. You're segmenting. You're slicing and dicing the data to see the information that you want to get to. And you're not doing much work. You're just basically clicking and going through this, right? So other thing that you can do is you are able to share this with a specific user. That is, let's say you're talking to a manager and you want to share this particular report with them, or you're talking to a chief executive, CEO or CTOs or CFOs. You just want to share this report. You can just put in the email address and it'll be sent out to them. They don't have to log into the system. Nothing of that, no such jazz. And now the other question will come up, right? Great LSP, you have created all these reports. So do I have to have my users to come in, log in and look at all this data? I'm using Zoho CRM, can I get my reports out there? The answer is yes, you can. So what you do in Zoho CRM is you create a web module, which allows you to do that, and you can create embeddable URLs from here. And then you can give access. So you can basically copy and paste this into your existing web page, existing portal. It could be Zoho CRM. It can be just about any HTML application. You can make this report available. And the other thing that you want to do is, oh, by the way, I don't want to give them access to everything. I just want the particular user with whom I'm going to share this particular report. I just want them to see the activity that is categorized as a call or a task. I don't want them to see everything. You can set up the filter here. So anytime the user tries to, any user who tries to access this URL, wherever you embed this URL in whichever application, they're only going to see the activities on which you have filtered this, right? A lot of power out there, a lot of capabilities. And then even here, as you share this with any user, you can just make this a read-only. So you don't want the user to be able to interact with this report. Absolutely no problem. You can just do a lot of things here. Again, I can do a full day training on Zoho Reports, literally, because there's so many such features that would be relevant for a lot of corporations in terms of, let's say, scheduling emails. So you want these reports to be automatically sent to the executive team. You can automate the scheduling process, and then it can be any kind of chart. It can be these charts. It can be tables that you can create. Just about anything can be emailed automatically. Okay, so we have seen some pre-built reports. Now, what about that forecasting report that I've been talking about all the while? Why don't we try and create that and have you kind of experience the way you can actually do this in this system and how simple it is? So I said I'm going to create a new report. It's going to be a chart, and it's going to be from the potentials table. And what I'm going to do is, on the x-axis, I have a lot of other formulas that I've applied on this data. So what I'm going to do is, what I need here is on the x-axis, I want to see the closing period. And I want to see it as quarter and year. And then on the y-axis, I want to put the expected revenue, which is, again, a field that you have in Zoho CRM. And I want to see the sum of it. And then what I want to do is on the legends, I want to see the probability, 0 to 20% probability, 20 to 50, 50 to 70, and so on and so forth. So that is kind of captured in this field called probability. I'm going to have that as the color. And I'm going to set that up as a range because any user will put things like 5%, 10%, 20%. I don't want to see each and every probability percentage there. I just want to kind of make groups. So I'm going to show that up as a range. From a time perspective, I have a lot of data. So I only want to see the data for the next quarter, nothing else. So again, I go and select the closing period and set up a filter and say, OK, show me only the data that's relative to the next quarter. I don't want to see anything else. There you go. So dragging and dropping the fields that you need, very simple stuff. And what you see is the forecast for Q2 2017. That's how simple it is. Then save this report. You're good to go. Let's also look at the KPI-based reports. The average deal size. Now, this is interesting, and you're looking at some German stuff because I was doing Zoho Germany, and what you see on the x-axis is actually the quarter and year. On the y-axis, it's the total, the average deal size. And here, what you see is the deals that you have lost and the deals that you have won, and then the average deal size. So maybe a better visualization will help. There you go. So it changes into BART, and you see the average deal size month over month. You actually see that you're losing bigger deals than the average deal size that you win, right? Something that you can probably take an action on. And here's another interesting graph. Same thing, the average sales cycle for the deals that you lose and the deals that you win. The average time that you spend on deals that you lose in Q4 2015 is 284 days, versus the one that you win is 273 days. Again, these are kind of actionable insights. This is what you want to get to. And another thing that I want to show you here is in the previous report, average deal size, you saw that this is what it is for across the business. I want to see it for a specific industry. I'm going to say, show it to me for pharma. There you go. So you get more insights because these reports, you basically drag and drop whatever fields you want and allows you to slice and dice the data. And another report that I'll quickly get to is a simple report that blends data from Zoho CRM and Zoho Books. I have a sample report where I have the invoice information for all the invoices that have been raised against the customer in Zoho CRM. And that's tracked in Zoho Invoice. And I'm going to basically show a simple report there. So here, what I see is a simple list of all the accounts that are tracked in Zoho CRM and the invoices that they have open in Zoho Invoice. So I can quickly go through this. So the amount, potential amount in pipeline, this is an attribute from the Zoho CRM. And then the open invoice amount is the amount that this particular customer, A+ Lawn Care, has in Zoho Invoice. And what's the total closed invoice that this particular customer has had over the lifetime of the customer in the business? And then what's the total that has been won so far with this business? So you kind of get a snapshot in one single report, data across multiple systems blended and being displayed here. With that, just a quick note on takeaway. I know analytics feels as though it's super complicated. Trust me, it is not. With the kind of tools that are available in the market today, it totally is not. The ability to kind of connect to various different systems and the power that it gives, puts in the hands of tech-savvy business users is phenomenal. Something like Zoho Reports, it's been in the making for 10 years. Not many people even know about this product, but this has been in the making. We've been fine-tuning the back end to be able to do all these kind of magic all along for 10 years. It's been a lot of history in this product. It's not the product that most people here walking in would have known, but this is, I would say, the hidden jewel in Zoho. A lot of capabilities. And then the most important thing as business you have to understand is if you do not do analytics, you're not going to have visibility into business. And that will sound the death knell. I mean, no business, no visibility is like the worst thing that can happen to your business. And it's also always important to be driven by data. Again, that's why even if you don't have visibility, the fact that you want to be driven by facts and figures will necessitate the reason why you want to do analysis. Thirdly, your reports, your analysis is never one size fits all. Every user has his or her own perception of how they want to look at the data and what data they want to look at. It cannot be just one report to everybody or all reports to everyone. It doesn't work that way. You have to understand which part of your business requires what kind of reports, and you just serve them that. Finally, you don't have to be a data scientist or a data analyst to be able to do all these things. There are a ton of products in the market that allow you to do this yourself. Self-serve BI is a business by itself, and there are a ton of products out there, and Zoho is really leading the way. And we're more than glad to work with just about every one of you and help you do the connections and do blending and analytics.